If you're new to the podcast community and you want to start a new podcast and you're looking for a platform that is user friendly, that has everything you need at your fingertips, that won't set any limits, that you can earn money, then I would recommend Anchor. Now, Anchor can be used basically anywhere. You could be in your car, you can be laying on the sofa in bed where you can edit, record, and upload. You can throw in soundtracks. Everything is there for you. Now, I use it because, it's user friendly and it is free, and I find it really easy to navigate without it being very confusing. Now, most platforms, before you can even try it out, you need to sign up and pick a plan. I like Anchor because I don't have to go through any of that. So I recommend it. Now, if you really want to get into it, I recommend you going to your website, anchor.fm, and signing up, or you can download anchor.fm from the Google Store, iTunes, and give it a try. So don't forget to go to anchor.fm, sign up, and I'll see you all in the podcast community. Hey folks, and welcome to the seance room. Now, this seance room is very special. It's where I communicate with the dearly departed and talk about everything and anything paranormal under the sky. So, with that being said, please come and join us on Miss Hyde's sofa for another episode of Miss Hyde's Paranormal World. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you later.
Hello.
Hey!
Hi.
Finally, it worked!
Yes, because I'm signed in this time. Remember, I'm technologically stupid.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. I resist technology.
Oh my god. Okay, so how was your weekend?
My weekend was really chill. I went over to the Alpine Village to pick up bratwurst because it's October and I usually have Oktoberfest with beer and brats and lederhosen and soft pretzels, and I miss it a lot.
Oh, I know bloody COVID, right?
Yes, I last year when there wasn't COVID, I went with a friend, and one of the trumpet players that play polka music got on my table, like giant man with giant hairy legs and lederhosen, and started like dancing. I was like, "Oh, this is a new view." So hairy.
It's like, this is not the view I want to see. Thank you very much.
No, but it was a very narrow table, and I could not believe he didn't fall off playing the trumpet.
That would have been a good video to record.
That was skills. No, no, no. I was far too shocked by the hairy legs. I just couldn't look away. How was your weekend?
It was all right. I had my reinforced concrete class, and then was prepping for my new job. So
Good. Good. That's
yeah,
good. Yeah. I'm
we'll see
glad
how
you're so
that goes.
busy.
We'll see how this goes.
I think if
We'll see.
anybody should be inspecting concrete, it should be you.
Yeah, true. Because
Yeah.
I'll have some good ideas. When I want to dispose of bodies.
Well, I'm thinking more of like the pushback because a lot of those people are in your face and they're aggressive, and I just don't feel like you're going to back down.
Well, that too. I was like, "Excuse me, you want to get in my face? Okay, come
Yeah,
on."
and you won't take bribes either.
No.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
cannot bribe me. There's not enough money in the world to bribe me.
Exactly. And with those things, because the QC process is very, very important or people die, I think that you'd be really good to have around because they can't buy you off and 10,000 people die.
Yeah, they're all like, "Excuse me, Inspector, what the fuck do you want? Do your job and leave me alone. I'm doing my job. You do your job. Make sure the concrete is correct. Okay? Okay, good."
Yeah.
Then you see on the news, inspector throws workers into pit full of concrete.
I feel like you would hex them and then like dead birds fall on them when they're trying to pour concrete.
Or a bunch of birds starts pooping on them.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, oh no, what was supposed to be normal temperatures turned into ice, and now the concrete won't cure. I wonder what happened there.
I wonder. I
Mm.
had nothing to do with it. You have no proof, no documentation. It did not happen.
You don't control the weather,
I wish I controlled the weather. So, let's roll with this episode.
All right.
All right. So, welcome back to my beautiful seance room, everybody. Tonight's guest is a good friend of mine, Miss Sue.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I know she is shy, but get her talking on a subject. Ooh, this girl can talk for days.
That's because I like you.
Yeah, it all depends if she likes you. If she doesn't like you, then you're screwed. Plain and simple.
You get my society manners. Yes,
Yes.
no, go away. You get
Yeah.
my DMV manners.
Oh yeah. You're lucky if you even get a hello out of her.
Does not compute. Goodbye.
There you go. See what I mean? Look at that evil laugh. I
It's
taught her
true.
so well. Oh, I'm so happy. So we're gonna be talking about a kid's toy that turns into, you can say, a deadly weapon if people do not know how to use it properly. If you haven't guessed what I'm talking about, folks, we're talking about the freaking Ouija board.
Where did it even come from? Where did it start?
Well, it was created in the 1800s by this dude that he thought, hey, it was a cool parlor game to have, and he mass produced it and thinking nothing of it. And then during World War II, this psychic medium decided to use it to help out during the war, but it
Mm-hmm.
backfired on her. And she got hung for witchcraft in England.
Ugh.
And this is during World War II.
Yeah, way past the 1800s.
Way, way past the 1800s. So,
But they did do dumb things like ban gay people during World War II in England too.
yeah,
So,
society is stupid in its
but
own.
not perfect.
It's society, but still, society's stupid. So,
Well, yeah, I just thought it'd have older um origins than that because the idea to make it a toy, and you think about creepy it is, like to be able to talk to
oh
the
yeah, it goes
other
way back to
side.
like ancient Egyptian time. The Druids, this was like
Mm-hmm.
way back in the day.
Mm.
So, in a way, um, I find it.
It's just like an update
Yeah, it's an
of
update.
how to talk to the dead.
Yeah, they call it the spirit board.
Okay.
And see, my thing with the whole Ouija board thingy is that don't play with it, plain and simple.
Right.
Because I've had friends who played with the Ouija board. Like my main thing is if I tell you don't do it because you don't know what you're inviting, and then you go and do it, then I get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, "Help! I don't know what's in my house. Can you come and help me?" Yeah, I've had way too many of those experiences where it's like, nope, I'm not going to help you. Sorry. I don't want whatever it's sitting and stewing and plotting how to kill you. Come join me in my house. No.
But I mean, that is a gateway and they open that door. So
Yep.
again, it's like until they realize how
Powerful.
serious, yeah, it is, that they don't believe, because you notice most people are not acquainted with the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And which is funny because I saw the movies, the Ouija board movies, and then this Italian movie, I think it's called Paranormal Investigator or something like that.
Mhm.
And these kids, well, these adults, were playing with the Ouija board, and one of the guys gets possessed by, oh my god, what's that? He was Hitler's main doctor at the camp.
Mangala.
Yeah, him.
Mhm.
And he possessed the kid's body. So the kid, I mean,
Mm.
literally was Hail Hitler, standing tall and proud and doing all these weird things. He would like go torment his parents. He'd try to kill his parents. They did exorcism after exorcism after exorcism, and it didn't work.
Mhm.
So, in my opinion, when you mess with the Ouija board, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Yes.
And I mean, you would agree with me. I mean, some people, okay, well, we're done. They don't close it. And if shit starts to happen, they burn the Ouija board. You throw
Yes.
it away. I'm like, everything you tell them not to do, these idiots do.
Yes. I do understand. We were too poor for a Ouija board, by the way, so we just created our own. My cousins live in the house that we opened the portal, and since we were kids when it happened, and now we're adults, they've kind of switched over to Christianity,
Oh,
and
it's those cousins.
it's those cousins, and that house is still really uncomfortable. This bad things still happen, and I did, offer to close the portal for them, but they refuse because they're like, Christians now, and they just cast out the demon, but it just keeps coming back. I mean, it's a portal.
See, and I've had friends, this is about maybe 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My friends were playing with the Ouija board, and they didn't tell me because they knew that if I knew, I wouldn't go to their house.
Yeah.
So they tell me, hey, Denise, you want to come over? We're having game night and whatever. So I'm like, I got nothing else to do. Might as well. But as soon as I got out of my car and I stepped foot onto the driveway, I text them. I go, nope, you can't get me to go any further. Like, what do you mean?
Good.
I'm like, no, I'll tell you right now, there's a whole bunch of shadow people in your living room, and I am not coming anywhere near your living room right now. I go, because you
Mm-hmm.
guys are playing with the Ouija board, and I am not going about to go do battle with all these people that you guys open the door with no consideration because you're all idiots. And I said,
Yeah. And you were warned.
and
Yeah.
I said it. That's the clean version. I mean, I was dropping f bombs left and right, and I was like, "Why would you do something like that?" Oh, because we were bored. Their answer: we were bored, and we wanted to see if this really worked.
Well, you take care of that shit now. How about that?
And lo and behold, I told them, "Give me 2 days. In 2 days, you're gonna see what's going on in your house. You're gonna hear." And I called it out, like to the T. You're gonna hear footsteps. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hear scratching. You're gonna hear growling. You're gonna hear everything.
Yep. Yep.
Yep, exactly at 3 o'clock in the morning for 2 days.
Bedtime. Yeah.
2 days straight. these idiots would be hearing scratching in the walls.
Yeah.
And then this on the third day, I got a call from my best friend, frantic, hysterical. He's all like, "We don't know what's going on. The house keeps shaking and this and that." And I was so reluctant to, I mean, like literally reluctant that I was questioning, do I put my life on the line to help them, or do I
Mm-hmm.
sit there and just wait it out?
You're a lot nicer friend than I am.
Yeah, I am. But it's like, okay, do I want to deal with this bullshit every night for the rest of my life? Or do I go see what they do? So I went. And as soon as I pulled up,
Mm-hmm.
I bubbled up. I called everybody and their mama. And it was basically playing a game of cat and mouse.
Yes.
And you know me that I hate playing cat and mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happened to that girl Shelly's house? We were playing cat and mouse with that sucker.
Yep. Yeah, but she put too many mirrors up.
And that's her fault.
Well, she's a good Catholic and she doesn't believe us.
And the Catholics are the worst.
Again, it's like until they get called out, and I had no knowledge of what was happening. All I could tell her was whatever's here is terrorizing your son,
Yep.
you know? And again, it's like, she did whatever she wanted to do and we told her not to do it. Still bless the house. Okay. You just made that spirit really mad.
Yep. And it's like it's the same thing with the Ouija board. And I go, I
Yeah.
went to their house and I go, okay, where's the board? We burned it. I'm like, oh, you idiots.
Now you can't close that portal.
And I was so ticked off to the point where I was raging, and I was like, how do you expect to get this out? You burned
Exactly.
it. And I
Yeah.
go,
It's stuck in this plane. Yeah.
there's no way to get rid of it. Like,
No.
this portal is open. I don't even have the magic to close this portal. It's like
No.
out of my control.
Mm-hmm.
And for a good 6 months, they lived in that house and constantly
Mm-hmm.
activity after activity after activity. So they finally put the house up for sale. And the one thing I told
Mm-hmm.
them, I go, you have to be honest with the person that buys this house. Literally, you have to.
Yeah.
Because you guys
Yeah.
fucked up. You created this, and now you're going to put the life
Yeah.
of other people in danger. So the house got sold, and the new people moved in. And within a week, they moved out.
Yep.
So the house has ever since been sitting there vacant in East LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I go, there's nobody to blame but you guys. You guys are the idiots who did it.
Yep. Yeah. Just knock that house down and sell that land for something else because that's a portal now.
And it's like, and they didn't
Yeah.
learn their lesson. That's the sad part. This is the kicker. They did the same thing, but at their job site.
Oh well.
I'm like,
Seems like they really, really want to be possessed.
well, and it did happen.
Yeah.
And the sad part is that the person who got possessed um, killed himself because it was
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
too much of the torment that he was getting. And um, I don't I don't blame him for putting himself out, but
Yeah.
I do blame him for causing it.
Yes.
And um, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it.
Right. No, I mean, I think this is what's important about speaking on this topic because there's a lot of curiosity, but there's no guide
No,
when you
no.
buy that board. There's no, and then it's only later, right? So, like, go over it again for your listeners. When you purchase the board, understand this is a tool to talk to the
Mm-hmm.
other side. What talks back isn't necessarily what you think
Oh
it might
yes.
be.
And
Yeah, so yeah, be selective about who you think you're talking to. Who's got the most energy to talk back to you? It's certainly not a weak little child that's lost. The one that has the most energy are the negative energy things,
yeah.
demons, low level demons.
And that's what people don't get. I mean, like, oh yeah, well, let's do this, we'll use this, it's all fake, it's all, your subconscious doing this. I
Yeah,
don't I don't know what planet you live on, and I don't know what rock you crawled under from, but this isn't something you joke about with, you know it's even
yeah,
worse if you don't have
absolutely.
the board itself, and you know how some people make it out of paper and they do all that.
Yes, yeah, that's what
It's
we did.
just
Yeah.
like you're giving it power to basically come into your house and screw with you, plain and simple.
Yes. Yeah, you volunteered for it. So I think if you're listening to this podcast and you've dialed in, and you've either had experience with Ouija board before or you're curious about Ouija board, please understand that it's very serious. And even though you can't see it and it only comes later, the consequences of that action, read up. I mean, you can Google all of the horror stories of people using Ouija board, and that actually might tempt people
Hmm?
even more to do it, to experience it. But also understand once a spiritual portal is open, only a person that opens it can close it if they can close it. So if you insist on playing with Ouija board or you insist on talking to the other side, make sure you're talking to somebody who is a spiritual person, a serious spiritual person, and you're talking to them about what you're about to do. It's like going to
Yeah.
therapy, really. It's like, hold on, I have an idea, I want to ruin my life. Okay, like, what do you think? Because this is how serious it can be. And the demons, there's two prominent ones at my cousin's house. They're
Yeah.
still running around rampant,
Yep.
torturing everybody.
And trust me, I've been called
Yeah,
in many a time to try to figure out what's going on. And mind you, I speak to the other side. I get all this stuff.
right.
So when I go in there and all I see are red beady eyes looking at me and hiding in the corners, I'm like, nope, mm-mm. I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. I'm
Nope.
not going toe to toe with that shit. No.
Especially when it was called.
Yeah.
That's the difference. If it was a visiting one, if it was one that kind of like was passing through and wanted to do harm, it's a little bit easier to get rid of. But when you open a portal and you ask it to come in and you gave it power, it now is
Yeah.
invited. And I think that's what people need to understand when they play Ouija board. And as anything in your life, if it's a guest, you have a hard time
And
getting rid of your guest.
another thing is they will never give you their name. So if
No.
you have their name, it's a little bit easier to close a portal, but they're never going to give you their
Yes.
name. And if the name they
No.
give you
No. They
is
always,
is
yeah.
is like 99.999% chance it's a wrong name.
Yes. Well, if you think about it, well, I'm not a spiritual person per se. Like, I don't go to any one religion, but the things that I've experienced in my cousin's house, they defy any rational
Mhm.
reason. And there's always been activity at her house ever since we were children. And then after we had grown up, and she became a Christian, and both cousins became Christians. There were
Mhm.
phenomena that appeared at her house, and it was like these shooting lights, like sparks. And they said they used to see them all the time, but now they don't see them anymore. And I never saw them before. And then staying over at their house, it was this horrible feeling in their mother's bedroom, and I was a guest, so I that's where I slept. And I kid you not, I could not sleep more than like 20 to 30 minutes at a time without getting some horrific nightmare and waking up like something was at the door and
Yep.
breathing. And I had eventually just stayed in my cousin's room with my two female cousins, and I felt the same thing where I felt this presence walk up to the door, and it couldn't pass the threshold because they're very religious now, and they bless their room, and like all good intentions in that room. It wouldn't pass through the
Mm-hmm.
threshold for some reason and left. But it was just a horrible, horrible feeling, and I never ever want to visit or stay there because it just was just, oh gosh, like I can't even. Let's just say the nightmares are enough to
It,
haunt
I
me to this day.
I believe you, and you know me. Like I can go to a
Yeah.
location and I'll be like, no, sorry, no, and that's what
Mhm.
happens. It's usually I can tell when there's something there, and when I went to go pick up my friend from work one time, I literally didn't want to park my car anywhere near the job site, literally,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
wasn't afraid of what was there. It was I didn't want it to attach itself.
That's another thing I always get concerned with, which is why I don't let people know that I have the ability because, people test you. Once they know that you have some psychic ability and you're even stronger and, asked to do
Hmm.
10,000 more difficult tasks, they always think like, oh, well, you can talk to the dead or you can see the dead, so you come here. It's like, no. Like, I don't
Yeah,
advertise
no, no,
for a reason.
no. Advertising is not our
Yeah.
forte. Do not call me for it. Do not. The only person that can send me any boogie
No.
oogie boogies is Sue. She,
I'm
she's the
yellow.
only one that can send me the oogie boogies because half the time she has no clue what to do with them.
Yes.
But everybody else, you can keep your oogie boogies to yourselves and do not send them to me.
Well, I always find it fascinating, like what we've kind of like
Hmm.
walked through together, and kind of like walk back through. Remember that place
Yeah.
that you worked at, that warehouse, and
Mhm.
it was a water spirit? That was an
Yeah. I
interesting
mean,
one.
with between me and Sue, we've had some really crazy encounters. You remember Hotel del Coronado?
Yes, of course I remember that hotel. That was when
That's
Oscar
where
got
Oscar got
messed with.
his head squished.
Yes. His head, like a hand was under and then lifted it up a few inches and then
Yeah.
put it back
So
down.
I mean, every time that both Sue and I
Yeah.
are in the same vicinity, we get a lot of activity.
Yeah. Well, they know. They can feel
And
the
then they're
energy.
all like, they'll come to her, and then she'll be like, "Nope, you go over there. You go to that one over there." And
Well, sometimes I just can't
that's
understand
the
them,
difficult part. I
honestly.
mean, like it's it's like when
Yeah.
you open the Ouija board and you start dabbling in it, you think
Yeah.
whatever's coming through is super friendly, and those that
Mhm.
come to your house, they present this image of I'm super friendly, but in reality they're both dark and twisted.
Well, I think they think it's a
Yeah.
great magic trick or something like, "Oh, look, we're not moving the board. It's moving the board." It's like, you don't know what it
Yep.
is. So don't invite it. Again, it's like, unless you have a trained professional, which if you're a trained professional, you would say,
Yep.
no, don't do it. Um, Again, it's like, look on all the websites and read up on the stories of, what happened to these people and their property. And
It
even when
follows.
you move, you invited that thing. It will go wherever you go until, again, it consumes you. It
Yep.
wants your
And
soul.
what it wants, it gets.
yeah, it's like betting against the casino. The house always wins. If you invited a demon in, the demon wants its like pound of
Yep, and it's
flesh.
gonna get its pound of flesh, no matter which way you say yes, no, how religious you become. It's going to get that pound.
Yeah, yeah, it'll follow you, and it'll, it's like signing a contract you didn't want for life, because if you happen to outlast it, you're gonna still
Yeah.
go with it when you die. So again, like, think twice before you open a Ouija board, attempt a Ouija board, make one out of paper, whatever it is. Like take the lesson from this podcast at least, and understand, like, this is not a toy. It has long lasting effects, and you're hearing it story after story, people who lived
Yep.
it.
And end result is not always what you think it is. You know, I mean, if you don't
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
anything we say, my friend, perfectly healthy, no psychosis. He had no, psychologist. He even like he was perfectly healthy. His mind was stable, everything. But after attack after attack after attack, he was weakened and he ended up taking his life. Because that's the end result.
Yeah,
They will feed you
yeah,
whatever they want
absolutely.
you to believe, and the torment and the images and what you hear is the end result is death, plain and
Hmm.
simple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a person that already receives messages from the other side, I already get bombarded by people who haven't passed over. I already get, people talking in my
Mm-hmm.
sleep. They disrupt my sleep. So, I mean, um, I don't invite chaos and uncontrollable things into my life, because I'm already tired. It's a bad situation to be in, because people who've died don't know, or don't have they're not ready to pass over. So they're kind of wandering around, and then they're talking to me, or they're telling me a story,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're ready to pass over. So for me, it's like I wouldn't invite something that's going to take over my life, because I'm already in that like really bad state where the dead and the living, kind of, I'm the transition. So I couldn't ever, embrace a dark spirit. It would end really
Yep.
badly on both
And
realms.
that's the thing is that
Yeah.
Sue is able to communicate on different levels, and sometimes they bombard her too much. Like especially when she was pregnant, they just bombarded her way too much.
Mhm.
That you know, and I don't have an issue. I never had a problem. She sent them my way, or I would always check in on her
Mhm.
because I can feel. I'm not an empath. There's Sue's the empath. I'm not the empath, and I
Mhm.
just the connection that we have between us. I knew it was getting chaotic for her, and the sad part
Mhm.
is, many people don't know how to handle that, and then they turn to the Ouija board
Mhm.
as if that stupid board is going to give them the right answers.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you're listening to this podcast now and you do want that answer, how would they get it though? See, that's the thing. It's like we try to help people because there are certain questions and there are paranormal experiences that they've lived through, that they want to connect, that they want to talk about, and these are the living. So, I mean, what do you recommend that they do? Because they're curious, they want to talk to somebody on the other side. Like, what can they do and who can they talk
Okay,
to
first and
without going through a
foremost,
Ouija
I
board?
would recommend a psychic. Um,
Okay.
somebody that is well known, somebody that
Mm-hmm.
that is known by word of mouth, preferably, and let them do
Mm-hmm.
the communicating, because us psychics, and I
Okay.
mean, I throw myself in there, but I don't give myself a name. I prefer not to give myself a name because then I'm grouped in a category and I'm stuck in that category. So I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I just call myself, hey, I just talked to the other side. That's it.
Right, right. So, if you are interested and you're listening, ask, send a message if this is, something you're looking for or curious about, we'll do our best to find a psychic, or you can find a psychic in your area that's
You know,
reputable. Um, to help you get these answers, because they know how to open and close. And some word of advice, that when you're seeking these answers, to be prepared, because when you open yourself up to these things, psychics have the ability to read you. They can read your past, present, future. They could do all that stuff, and they could cause serious harm in your life. So do be careful what kind of information, how much money, resources you're going to put into this,
yeah,
because a
and
lot of
another
people get
thing,
manipulated.
um, the quick answers through the Ouija board, and the Ouija board will give you what you want to hear, and that's a quick answer, but at what cost? Whereas if you go to someone like me, I'm not going to put a price on it. If your relatives want to
Yeah.
talk, then they're going to come through and they're going to talk. I never put a price on anything because it's
Mhm.
not my place.
Mhm.
It's the spirits who want to
Mm-mm.
communicate, and they'll communicate. And if they don't feel like communicating, then, I can't force them to communicate. And you'll notice that
Absolutely. Absolutely.
there are psychics who will charge you $200 for 30 minutes. Not even a full freaking hour. They're
Mhm.
paying you $200. And they'll
Mhm.
sit there and they'll start telling you things, and they will go off your body language. They will go off a whole bunch of different things. And,
Yeah.
I personally am not like that. I mean, I've read a couple people at my job where I worked with Sue, and there were a couple of coworkers that, out of the blue, I would mention something. Geza was one of them. Sue, um, kind of told her that she was pregnant, expecting a little girl before she even knew. That one surprised her. She's like,
Yep.
"What?" And then she's all like, "Yeah, how did you know?" I'm like, a birdie told me."
No, no. When you told me, I was like, that's 50/50.
But it ended up happening, and I didn't even know you were pregnant. So,
Oh no, it just, yeah, and the day
mhm.
before the ultrasound, she came to me.
So I mean,
Yeah, yeah. She
and
said,
then
"Peekaboo, mommy."
there was
Yeah.
Gaze's encounter with the little old lady that turned out to be his grandmother. Things come easy
Ooh.
for me because I'll tell somebody and I'm like, they'll ask me, "How do you know?" Well, no shit, Sherlock. She's standing right next to you. You know, but I've never
Mhm.
personally in my life.
Mhm.
I've never played with the Ouija board. I refuse to be anywhere near the Ouija board because that's energy that I do not need in my life.
Mm.
I don't need the torment. I mean, as it is already, I suffer from depression. I don't need more chaos be
Yeah.
brought in and convert.
Yeah. You don't need somebody to kick you down a well
you
further.
know,
Shit.
so I mean, I'm always available. I mean, like I always help Sue out whenever she needs it. Because then she'll throw those messages up into the
Yes,
sky,
you
and I'm like,
do.
oh man, she's at it again. Or she wants to kill somebody. I'm like, she's at it again.
Mhm.
Or she'll do her
Yes.
astral travel, and it's like, no, 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 come back. You've gone too far.
Oh, yes. I'm notorious for that. But you know what? I've seen things and been to places that I've never
Yeah,
traveled to. Planes I've
I
never
believe it.
traveled to. Yeah. So with those, yeah, with those questions answered, I'm good.
See,
I'm
and
gonna
that's the
stay
thing.
here.
Sue can do the astral traveling with no problem. I can't. And if I end up being anywhere remotely near her when she's traveling, it's because she pulls me in. Or she's like in trouble. She's like,
Yeah,
Denise.
that's true. You have to come
And
get me.
then I get pulled. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go again. There's that weird feeling again, the weird feeling. And then I know when I'm getting traveled because I get that weird, like, sucking feeling. Like, it's usually Sue. I'm like, yep, she's gone again. She went a little too far this time.
Yeah, so I'm mostly scientific. So sometimes, like, having these experiences is really hard to explain. So when I tell you, all the listeners that um, it's not something to be lighthearted about, like I said, you'd have to experience it to know, and the serious gravity of what happens to you. So I'm like Denise. I don't advertise. I actually don't like reading people. So if you're in and around me, I prefer to just block myself off and not hear what you're thinking, saying, whatever it is. Like I just don't want to know. Um, but but when somebody comes to me and asks me, for advice or to read them, I'm very honest. I'm not going to hold back. And sometimes it
Yeah,
doesn't make
because
them
it,
feel very
it
comfortable.
makes
So
them feel very personal. It's almost like a personal attack.
they, exactly. So they open that a veil, if you will, and they ask to read. And she's been with me when I've read people, and it was multiple people.
Hmm.
I'll just call a bitch out. Yeah, there's no holds bar. It's like, you effed up. You shouldn't have done this. This is what I see. And, I see the shock on their faces because this is the first time we're meeting, or this is the first time we're ever speaking. And it's it's
Yep. And
exactly
then I
what they wanted
confirm
to
it, and
hide.
they're all like, "Oh shit!" They're like, "Yep, just just letting you know, whatever she's saying." Be-
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a sideshow. I don't do this for a living. I don't wear a turban. I don't look at a crystal ball. I walk into the room. I feel the energy there, and I get the messages, and then I relay the messages. And again, if you're susceptible and you want to hear what I have to say, or you're asking me like to think really
oh,
hard
that's
because
the one
shit is
thing. Hmm.
tiring for those
One thing
messages.
is that
Yeah. Mhm.
um, I've done it longer than Sue has. For like, I've done it for like 40 some years now. Sue is getting into it, and she's learning how to harness it. So when I was showing her how to, harness it and how to kind of separate and not let it drain her so much, she's getting better at it. Um, but it's still draining. You
Mhm.
feel zapped, literally. It feels like an electric shock just
Mhm.
went right through you because all that energy is just gone. Yeah.
You feel like you were
Yep.
filled with sand and then got dumped out. That's just is hollow, and again, it's like you have to remember where you are. For me, it's like, okay, hold on. I have to position myself again where I was at. So I prefer not to read
And
people.
yeah,
So
if
if
you
you
see
see
us
me out in
together,
public, just avoid
she's not
me.
going to
I
read
I
you.
won't be talking
She
to
will
you.
not read you. I'll
Yeah.
tell her to bubble up.
No.
I will
I'll walk
specifically
really
tell
far
her
away
because
from
I
you.
can spot
Yeah.
it a mile away.
Yeah.
And if you're walking toward us, I will literally tell her, bubble
Yeah.
up.
Hey man, you got bad
Yeah.
juju. I'm gonna bring my knife out. I'm not playing around. I don't want to be anywhere near crazy people.
Yep.
I don't want to be anywhere near
That
energy
and
suckers.
then that's
You
what
just
I
stay
do
over
when we're
wherever
out
you are.
together, like eating lunch or something like that. I straight up
Uh-huh.
tell her, hey, bubble up. And she'll bubble up. And she's getting
Yep.
better at,
Mhm.
picking it up. But there are still some times where she can't see it coming or feel it coming. And I'll be like, bubble up. And then I take the brunt of it.
Mhm.
And then she'll
Yep.
notice that by the end of the, wherever we're at, and we're going back to her place, by the end of it, I'm like dead tired. I'm like so tired.
Yeah, explain the idea of psychic
Um,
barriers for people.
there's a lot of. Oh,
Well, I mean, again, you and I have talked about this, and so it's lingo. And what I've gotten feedback from
mhm.
other people is that it's very specific, and a lot of people that aren't
They
part of the
don't,
psychic realm
and
don't understand
it's
the verbiage.
difficult because either I have to put it in a context where you can picture it as a visual person. Like, so
Yeah.
when I tell Sue, bubble up or protect yourself or put yourself somewhere where it is safe, I usually tell people picture this giant bubble and it just literally
Mm-hmm.
manifests around you. And it's see through, but it's so solid that
Mm-hmm.
nothing can penetrate it. And you don't even feel it. Like everything will bounce right off.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like people that don't understand psychic ability and
Mm-hmm.
don't understand being a receiver. So I'm a receiver, and then I also broadcast. But most importantly, it's like being able to receive radio waves and just having like a giant
Yeah.
Faraday cage over yourself so that you block anything coming in or out. So that's what bubble up means. So that whatever is trying to come in
Yeah,
cannot
because
read me and I don't
once
read
it
them.
reads you, it knows everything. It's like a computer. It will go through your whole
Yes.
life Rolodex and be like, ooh, oh, this happened to her.
Yep.
Ooh, oh. And
Yeah.
it will throw that back at you.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm very cautious when we're out in
Mhm.
public because I rather have her bubble up and be protected than get tormented later on because something attached itself.
Yeah. Yeah. So those with even minimal psychic ability or feel that you have psychic ability, more likely than not you do. Okay? I mean, some people are just crazy and there's nothing to say about that. And, I do talk to my therapist about this. But for those who feel like they have some psychic ability and you have questions, feel free to ask them. There's a great psychic community out there. They're very open. They do talk. There's schools that teach you how to harness the ability, but also not become victims to it because it is
Oh
tortuous.
my
You
God.
do second guess everything. And before I met you,
And
yeah, I
when
was
she
really
means
tortured by
tortured,
it.
it literally is that. Um, I've had people that have the gift that at times it was so chaotic in their mind that it was driving them
Hmm.
batshit crazy.
Yeah, but you see how realistic some of the
Yeah.
details of the dead like that come through. I have a hard time discerning dreams from reality for a long, long time because I was seeing the world through their eyes. So I write them
Mm-hmm.
down from time to time, the specifically like traumatic ones, very um the ones that, I mean, they really have a hard time passing through until they get this story out. And I feel so bad for them that I'm their last stop because I'm not very helpful. Okay, I'm just not that helpful psychic. Like if you stopped here, I feel really bad for you as a
And
dead
I'm
person. I
laughing
do.
because it's true.
You
It's
know?
true. Because I mean,
Yes. I feel really bad for them. They just like felt my energy and they're like, "Hey, let's go to her house and let's talk to her." And I think maybe that's all they
yeah,
need, honestly.
they
Like they just need somebody to feel for them because their last impressions on Earth weren't passed on to their children, weren't passed on to their relatives, to
yeah,
anybody of
and and
importance.
that's the
Yeah,
weird
and
thing about it is that you know a lot of people will say psychics need to follow this protocol, psychics need to do it this way, psychics need to do it that way. There are no fucking rules. Okay, there.
They're so, specialized, and they make themselves into these little groups. And honestly, like, other than you, I don't really
I
talk
don't.
to people about my abilities,
I don't either.
because it's over
I
their
don't put
head.
myself in a
So,
freaking category like everybody else. I don't
hmm
follow a set rule. I do everything
no,
on my own. I do everything I was taught how to do. How to work a candle, how to make it
yeah,
and how to work it, spell onto it. I was taught how to do that. How to prep a candle. I was taught how to do that.
hmm
I don't need
hmm
um other
right.
psychics to tell me you're doing it wrong, or that's not how you're supposed to do it, or you need to follow this way, because everybody was taught differently.
Yeah, and I also think depending on where you tap into, that's what you want to do, because I feel like the psychic protocol is to train
Mm-hmm.
people to do this basic thing, or because they want them all to be like this. And now when you have a natural ability, that's the hard part, right? Because again,
No,
it's like what they
no.
do is not going to fit your lifestyle, is not going to fit my lifestyle, because they don't understand the extent of what you have. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't even realize the extent of the power that I have, because we were talking about
Yeah.
this maybe like last year, right? And there was one specific spell, and I don't usually like to cast them. I don't usually do them, but then when I wrote it, it was like
Mm-hmm.
so easy to write. It just came, right? And then when I
Mm-hmm.
recited it, that's when it wasn't my voice anymore. It was like
Yep.
15 different voices and a lot deeper. Yeah, that scared the shit out of me. And I told another friend who's, going to get training, and she said, well, you're tapping into a different realm. Those are the voices coming through. And for most people that never ever cast a spell, and, they'll never do this, I don't recommend you doing it on your own. I don't recommend you Googling shit online. Like, I've seen the demon ones, where they like
Yeah.
summon one. Ooh,
See,
that's a
like,
no-no.
you want to talk about screwed up spells?
Yeah. There's that. Yeah. That could be your own whole other podcast. But like I said, Ouija board works the same way, because like a spell, you're calling something, you're tapping into a plane and opening a door, and that door should only be opened and closed by somebody who knows what they're doing. The people that know how to guard, and the people that know how to handle the worst case scenario passing through. Because I think that's what people always downgrade.
and
How serious
that's again
what
the shitty
passes
part.
through could be.
I have friends who will call on me and be like, "Hey, can
Yeah,
you?" No, and it's a hard no. I will never. I will never go
that's fair
and
though.
try to figure
It's
something
fair.
out for them, because I'm putting myself at risk. I'm putting
No.
everybody in my home at risk, because I got to go fix something they
Yeah.
screwed up. See, in in my
Well, honestly, that's why I like
cuz see
laugh when I
in
watch those ghost
to a lot of
shows.
people I'm a fixer. I'll fix the problem and then I'll lecture you after. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, the Ouija board and stuff like
Yes.
that, I will never fix it. I'm sorry. You opened the
Yes.
portal and you threw away the
Yeah.
board, or
Yeah.
you
That's
burned
fair.
the board and you want me to go in and fix it. I'm not stepping anywhere near that board. It is. It's totally
That's damn
impossible.
near
You have to
impossible
be
to
like a
fix though.
super powerful witch,
Yeah.
yet to even remotely get close to closing that
Demon
portal.
hunter, yeah.
And then on top of it all, how many portals did you open?
Yeah.
Because it could be one main portal and it could be 100 portals. So there's no point in me trying to go in there and be like, okay, you have 5 portals, you invited 16 demons, and yeah, they want to kill you. Okay, first and foremost, all these demons come through.
Yeah.
And you want me to stick my precious life on the line.
What's worse is they don't just do it once,
like,
they
you
do it
want me to
multiple
stick my
times.
precious
That's
life
the worst.
on the line for you because you're an idiot and you're dumb and you think it's a piece of cake because Denise will fix the problem.
No,
I'm not taking a bullet for
nobody's
nobody,
taking that
unless
hit.
you're a family member or it's you. But
no. But again, it's like, you trained us and, you already warned us. So that's not one of those situations where we're going to get into willingly, honestly, because, I've known you almost a decade and, from the get-go, it wasn't one of those things I invited.
And that
it was
comes
the
from
thing
your
that I
dad
was
too.
born with. Yeah.
But your dad is special on a different level, though.
I can't even begin to understand the legacy from my father's side, but only that they are very powerful witch doctor type.
And that's why you ended up with what you had, and that's why your daughter is a triple threat. Which we'll talk about her daughter in another episode, but that little girl can summon anything with just a snap of a finger or a tap of the ground, and that thing will come right up.
Yes, which is why I tend to, have to pull her back.
Yeah, because when she was little, Lord, she had so many things running around her house. I was like, wait a minute, where did these guys come from? And there she was pounding. Yep, she called them and she was hitting the floor, and they were. I'm like, oh sweet Jesus, girl, you got your.
I don't even want to. Yeah, the language, the old language that she was using,
and that's the
scared
thing.
the
It's like,
living daylights out of me.
If you have the gift and you play the Ouija board, you are just asking for some serious. Well, I was gonna say serious.
You're going to die.
You're gonna croak. You're going to die.
You're going to die. Yeah, no, I'm going to tell you now. If you have the gift, do not touch the Ouija board.
But then again, Sue, there are people out there with no common sense. This world is made up of idiots.
This is true.
So chances are somebody that has the gift that doesn't know they have the gift touches a board and opens it and doesn't close it. They're an idiot.
Well, that's how they keep the demon realm so busy.
They're like, hey, we're gonna go over to Johnny's house.
For all, let's go. Yeah, party at Johnny's house. Let's all 15 of us go drink beer and then take over Johnny's life.
That one crazy doctor with us too. He can always join us.
Yeah. So
fair warning, guys.
Don't do it.
I wanted to do this episode.
Just don't do it.
Because Sue has experience, I have experience, and it's Halloween. People always.
Oh yeah, they love that shit. Like seances during Halloween, Hallows Eve. They just want to be talking to dead people. If you're gonna do shit like
that, do it with somebody that can properly protect you while you're doing it. Do not go out. Do not go out there and do it
find
on your own
psychic.
Because you will fuck it up.
Yeah. Don't go to no goddamn graveyard. Don't go to that shit.
Do not do it in a cemetery, please. Don't go dig up a fresh grave because I've seen idiots do that. And it's
Oh
not just
God.
disrespectful.
That's just
You do
disrespectful.
not know what that person, um,
That's
has
true.
going on.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
like, don't go to the graveyards. Don't do,
Mhm.
Pasadena, do not go to the Suicide Bridge. Please don't do that.
No.
Not
No,
throwing
no,
it on
no. That's on an
Halloween.
ordinary day is bad.
So, I mean, the whole point of this episode was to give you some personal
Yeah.
experience
So,
about the Ouija board, give you an idea of what can happen. But please, seriously, do not play with the Ouija board. Do not remotely contemplate and thinking about it, because the end result is always negative. It's never a
yes,
positive. And
it's
I,
irreversible.
if you need to talk to somebody and you have, something you want help with, I'm more than glad to help you out. I do not charge. I don't believe in charging people for help. Um, the contact info will be listed below. Um, Sue is a very busy person. She's very, very busy. Um, um, but I'm more than glad to step in and help you out as best as I can. Um, but
Yeah, if you want like cartoon, non-experienced psychic running around your life, I would probably be the only one that would fit that. I'm scared shitless of dead things. And I'm not very polite. So if Denise pulls me in and you just happen to be getting my help, thank your fucking lucky stars. Um, because I hate doing it. I hate it. But
yeah,
if it's serious
and I
enough for
only
me to
will
step
pull her
in, then
in
I
if
will.
I need extra backup, because she has really strong, good energy, and if I need it, I will ask her, and if she's available. But majority of the time, I can handle basically about anything and everything you throw at me. So if you have any comments,
Yep.
questions, concerns, by all means, let us know. Sue has a podcast on Anchor. So Random Tasks, go check it out. We are hilarious on there because we just randomly talk about shit and it's hilarious.
So the lesson today is Halloween is coming up. Do not tempt fate and try to talk to dead people without proper guidance and help. And she's already opened it up to you guys. I would take her up on it. And who's ever listening and curious, ask questions and also be very prepared to run for your
And
damn life if you open
you
that
gotta
portal.
love Sue. You all have to love Sue because she says it like it is.
I have no energy for foolishness. I have no energy to lie to you. I just don't want to do it. If I don't like you, I just won't say anything. And if there's something standing behind you and you happen to be a
She'll just
rude
walk
person,
away.
I won't tell you. Yeah,
She'll
I
tell
will
you, like,
say
Denise,
good
let's
luck
go.
and I will leave.
And I'll turn around and be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go. We were supposed to go to Bodega Louie for some macaroons. Let's roll.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
check out Sue on
Yeah.
her podcast, Random Tasks. Um, she has a couple episodes up already, so check that out. Again, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, let me know. I'm here to help as best as I can. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I think I did a good don't do drugs, don't do ghost warning. I don't know.
All
Don't do
right.
Ouija. I don't know. We gotta put that on a
Ooh, I
t-shirt.
can
Don't
put
do
that
Ouija.
in. I can have that made. Ooh, brilliant idea.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, so watch out for
And it'll
merch.
have,
It's gonna say
a
don't do
stick
Ouija.
figure with, something. I don't know. We'll make it funny. There you
Run
go.
after,
Perfect. We'll draw
like, how about
stick figures
15
with
demons
horns sticking
chasing
out,
after it?
chasing another little stick
Yeah,
figure. All right, folks. With that
I
being
love
said,
it.
we're going to close this episode, and I will see you next week. Talk to you all later. Bye.
All
Have you ever wanted a podcast that is multifaceted? That your hosts are cool and down to earth. You know, they talk about everything under the sun, including the kitchen sink, but they also are real. You know, well, let me tell you about Table Muscles. Now, Rob and Wolf are co-hosts, and Rob is a good friend of mine. They have a really cool podcast that, like I said, covers everything. You know, they do conspiracy theories, they do shout outs, they support an organization or an awareness for the month. If you are going through a rough time, you know, they make themselves available. You know, you can hit them up with a direct message on Insta, their Facebook page. I don't know if they have a Twitter yet. But they're really cool podcast. Two really down-to-earth guys that keep it real. You know, they're there for you. They talk about a lot of different things. So their podcast has a little bit of everything. Make sure you go check them out. It's Table Muscles. They're on every platform. They're on social media. Let them know that Ms. Hyde from What the Paranormal sent you. And go show them some love and support. They're fairly new, but, you know, let's show our support. And they have a little bit of everything, so, you know, they may have topics that you really enjoy. So go take a listen and see what they have. Don't forget, they're called Table Muscles, and they're on social media, and they are on all the podcast platforms. And don't forget to tell them that Miss Hyde from What the Paranormal sent you over. Hey folks, thank you for joining us tonight, and make sure you like, subscribe, and follow on all our social medias. We are on a lot of platforms. We also have a new number where you can text and leave us your ghost story, or you can leave us a voice message telling us about your ghost story, and we will incorporate that into an episode. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, let us know. You can email us directly at whattheparanormal77@gmail.com, or you can send us a message through our social media. With that being said, you'll have a good evening, good day, good night, and we will see you on the next episode. Don't forget to keep it ghosting.